Blackmon Jr. or CJ. Talk number 3, Abner. Those who live by the sword die by the sword, and is based on the source material of the Insight book, pages 26 and 28.
Please join me at Matthew chapter 26, verse 52. This was the night Jesus was betrayed by Judas Iscariot. At the spot called Gethsemane, as Jesus was being taken into custody, one of those with him reached out his hand, drew his sword, and struck the slave of the high priest, taking off his ear. Now Matthew chapter 26, verse 52 reads, Then Jesus said to him, Return your sword to its place, for all those who take up the sword will perish by the sword. Please put your place markers here. We will return to Matthew chapter 26. Tonight, we'll be discussing Abner. He is certainly one who lived by the sword and died by the sword. Abner was the uncle of King Saul. He also served as the chief of Saul's army. Some of the young ones might remember story number 58 from the Bible Bible stories, David and Goliath. Well, at 1 Samuel 17, verse 57, as soon as David returned from striking down the Philistine, Abner took him and brought him before Saul with the head of the Philistine in his hand. Also, in story number 61, 1 Samuel 26, verse 16, David shouts down to Israel's army chief, which is Abner, and says, Why aren't you protecting your master the king? Look, we are his spear and his water jug. So Abner was clearly a man who lived by the sword. The Insight book even cites where David's army and King Saul's army met in a test of strength at the pool of Gibeon in the territory of Benjamin. After the two armies had sized each other up, Abner proposed a contest between a dozen young warriors from each side. The sides were so evenly matched that a mutual slaughter resulted, provoking a full-scale combat between the two armies. Abner's forces lost 18 men for every one of Joab's soldiers and retreated towards the wilderness. Eventually, Abner defected to the side of David, bringing with him the allegiance of the rest of Israel. Yet, he already made enemies, one in particular, Joab, and Joab was the head of David's men. In revenge for slaying his brother, Joab found an occasion to kill Abner. Let's look at the account here at 2 Samuel chapter 3, verse 23 through 27. Again, that's 2 Samuel chapter 3, verses 23 through 27, and that reads, When Joab and all the army that was with him arrived, Joab was told, Abner, the son of Ner, came to the king, and he sent him off, and he went his way in peace. So Joab went in to the king and said, What have you done? Here, Abner came to you. Why did you send him off so that he successfully got away? You know Abner, the son of Ner. He came here to fool you, and to get to know your every move, and to find out everything that you are doing. So Joab left David and sent messengers after Abner, and they brought him back from the cistern of Sirach. But David did not know anything about it. When Abner returned to Hebron, Joab took him aside inside the gate to speak with him privately. However, there he stabbed him in the abdomen, and he died. This was for killing his brother Asahel. No doubt we see here how true the words of Jesus are at Matthew chapter 26, verse 52. Those who take up the sword will perish by the sword. Remember, I asked you to mark your places there. Let's turn back to Matthew chapter 26. Now we'll read what Jesus said next. We'll read verse 53, and that reads, Or, do you think that I cannot appeal to my Father to supply me at this moment more than 12 legions of angels? Yes. As Jehovah's people, we do not have to fight. Now you may say, yeah, but that's Jesus, Jehovah's firstborn son. Our final scripture is at 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 24. Again, that's 2 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 24. We're going to read the A portion, and that reads, "For a slave of the Lord does not need to fight." Let us all remember Abner. Those who live by the sword will die by the sword.